Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another great conversation. I'm Christiane David, your life and money coach from Green Wealth Legacy. And in today's conversation, we are going to have the second installment of our discussion on how you're interacting with your finances. So, first things first, let me just briefly rewind a little bit. From the first conversation that we had, we talked about the fact that you don't have a money problem. You have an awareness problem. And I want you to understand that that means you have to change the way you're thinking about the problems you're telling yourself you have about money right now. Because every time you're trying to solve a problem and you're focusing on the wrong problem, you will just spin in the same cycle over and over and over and never move forward. And I want to tell you that the reason you're stuck here is because you've been solving the wrong problem. So you want to look at your money and understand there's a difference, there's a level of awareness I need to have. And once I have that awareness, so if you haven't watched the first video, I want you to go back to Greenwood Legacy. This is on Facebook, but when we post this on YouTube, you can just make sure you watch the video. You don't have a money problem. You have an awareness problem. And we're going to also link it for those of you that are on YouTube to be able to just click and watch it, link it into the comments. So you want to be able to watch that video to get started with building awareness, because today we're going to talk about understanding. Most people think gaining awareness is understanding, but that's two different things. So step one, being aware as to the fact that the problem isn't money, it's your thinking. But that's a cognitive awareness where you're hearing me say it and you kind of understand it logistically. But I want you to understand it in your body. And that's what we're going to do today. I want you to understand it in your life. I want you to picture yourself solving the wrong problem. And when you do that, then it's like you really see where you've been doing this wrong all along. You can't unsee that. You can't go, because if your brain sees it, if your nervous system acknowledges, oh, we've been solving the wrong problem, you cannot go backwards. You're going to want to fix it. I remember a few weeks ago, I went on a trail run. Now, I've been running on the road for as long as I've been a runner, for over a decade. But trail running is something that's new to me. It's still fairly new. It's not super new. I've been doing it since last year, but this year I've been running on the trail more often. But it uses different muscles. So I've been trying to take it easy and just really warming myself up to a longer distance. And a few weeks ago, I went on a trail run and I ran and I stopped and it was too early. It was too early because I had built enough capacity to run at least 6 miles or more. But I stopped way before that and my body went into revolt. It was very upset that I stopped so early because trail running is really fun. And if you know me, I am very excited about exercise, pushing myself, really working my body. And so it was a really amazing experience for me. I was very frustrated, but that frustration told me that my body was ready for more and I didn't give it to it. So when you gain the understanding that you've been solving the wrong money problem, you are expanding your capacity to see beyond what you've been looking at this whole time, because you can't solve a problem that you don't see. The minute you see it, then your brain goes to work trying to solve it. And so today we're going to talk about that understanding. I'm going to walk you through experiences that you are having that should tell you that you are solving the wrong problem. And now that you see it, you'll be able to go back into your relationship with money and understand what you need to change to solve the real problem, which is your thinking. Again, I'm going to repeat that. And so if it's your thinking, then it's about the fact that that thinking is generating emotions in your body, feelings that you have. And this is something that's underrated because emotions and feelings have a bad rep. They are seen as weaknesses, but in reality, they are the most powerful tool that we have as humans to accomplish the impossible in our own lives. And so if money feels hard right now, no matter how you look at it, you make good money, but you're still struggling, thinking like, I'm not doing everything I want to be doing. I'm not using my money the way I want to be using. There's an unease going on underneath it all. This is where it's at. It's you listening to your emotions, your feelings, because when you feel a certain way, then you show up differently. You show up in a way that is a mirror of the feeling that you are experiencing in the moments. And when you take actions from that place, you create results that are most likely not the results you have in mind. So it's really important for you to slow yourself down. This is something I always tell my clients. The first session we have, I'm always asking them to slow down, to watch their behavior, because that's what's going to help you appreciate, oh, I am in a different emotional state, and that's why I'm behaving this way. Most people are not aware that their emotional state dictates their behavior and therefore their results. And I want you to see that. So you want to slow yourself down. So this is what I call the sequence. Noticing that you have a thought that generates an emotion, a feeling, and that's what drives your actions. And those actions is what leads you to the results you have. So your life, whatever reality you see, is the direct result of what you're thinking about. And once you take that ownership, the work is to watch yourself and notice, where have you been creating your results? This is not a matter of blaming, because blaming is just in the same category as complaining. All it creates is more of the same. What we want is 100% responsibility, accountability, self-accountability, because the minute you understand that that's where I'm directing you, then you start to do this work that I do with my clients all the time. We're watching their brain. You really become the observer, watching yourself. So if you have thoughts like, I'm behind, you'll probably feel a level of anxiety. And when you feel anxious, you don't take actions that create any result that you want. Because sometimes anxiety drives you to avoid your finances, to procrastinate in having a money date, procrastinate on making a decision, and all of a sudden you find yourself staying behind. So you actually created the one thing that you were trying to stay away from. Feeling behind, being behind. Now you're actually behind because you missed your money date. You missed the opportunity to take care of your finances. I want you to pay attention to that and see how all of that is happening inside of you, and your surroundings are playing no part in the results that you're creating. Or you might be thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. This is something my clients come to me a lot saying. And it's almost as if you're reporting the news. And when I say that, I mean, think about it. When we're listening to the news, they're just kind of telling us the facts of what's going on. It's like they're telling us the fact and then they're adding a story, but they're just telling us what's going on. So it's like, yeah, this is really happening. So when you tell yourself, I don't know what I'm doing, you think you're just telling yourself what's going on, but what you're really doing is giving yourself direction. Because when you sit, I don't know what I'm doing, you feel self-doubt. You don't trust yourself because you don't know what you're doing. And that creates procrastination or lack of planning. How many people have I talked to that do not have a budget because they don't think they know what they're doing? That's what the action that creates. And when you don't have a budget, when you don't plan with your money, when you don't direct your money with attention, you create a lack of clarity. So all of a sudden, you actually did create the I don't know what I'm doing, no clarity. So if you slow yourself down and notice what is happening that is creating these results, and stay in your realm of authority, which is your life, how you think, what you feel, and what you do. That's where you can pay attention to. You can't pay attention to how much gas prices have gone up. You can't pay attention to grocery prices because that's no longer your realm of authority. What you want to pay attention to is what you think about the gas prices going up. What you think about groceries prices, not getting the promotion, getting the promotion. That's what you want to focus on. What am I thinking about all of these things? Because you're telling yourself a story about every single circumstance in your life. And the story you tell yourself is what you want to pay attention to. What story are you telling yourself? Because here's what's going on. It's not that you're failing to follow through. And because you're distracted by the circumstances, you think your problem is that you're not following through. So in my masterclass, How to Spend Your Money Guilt-Free, I actually walk you through exactly the mechanism that takes place in your head that makes you think the problem is failing or follow through. Really, when I teach women how to follow through, I teach them how to build a system grounded on their values. When you're working, operating from your values and wanting to achieve your goals, you don't have a problem of following through, right? So your problem isn't that you're not following through, is that you're reacting to emotions that you don't know how to process. So when you have self-doubt or you have anxiety, you don't know what to do with them because negative emotions, they contract you, and so they create a huge level of discomfort. And our brain does not like to be uncomfortable, so it dismisses those emotions. You don't process them. And when emotions are not processed, they create stagnation inside of your system. And so you become what you start to belong to one of the two categories of people that I work with: overspenders versus underspenders. An overspender is someone who spends in a way that is outside of the plan that they created. But here's the kicker with overspending. If you don't have a plan for your money, how do you even know if you're an overspender? That creates way more chaos, way more confusion. So you don't even actually know what the truth is when it comes to your money. An underspender is one that suppresses emotion. And so therefore, they actually are not using money in a way that aligns with their lives. They have a desire for the life they want to create, but they're not using money to actually match that desire. And it creates a dissonance, an incongruence. So you find yourself in one of these categories. The fact is, both of these behaviors are driven by unmanaged feelings. Because the overspender is someone who actually abandons themselves emotionally. And so I find that a lot of overspenders do not actually have a budget, right? So you are sort of overspending, but we don't find that out until we actually create a spending plan. And when you do create a spending plan, the reason you don't do that right now is because you have emotions like um, apathy, hopelessness, sadness, and they feel super constraining, super they create a lot of contraction inside of you, a lot of shrinking, and to deal with them, you abandon yourself and you go and spend, and you create more chaos that way. And this is what I call emotional abandonment. Because you don't care for yourself emotionally, you go and try to distract yourself from it. And then the spender is someone who is living in fear and overprotection. And again, lack of emotional management, because we underestimate the work that is required to pay attention to our emotional world, to navigate that world at the highest level. And when an underspender is dealing with fear of the unknown, of the future, what they do is they hold on to the money. They don't take care of themselves. They abandon themselves financially because now they stop looking at ways to multiply their money, maximize their returns, and to take care of themselves financially and emotionally. So if you don't know how to feel your emotions, you will always end up building a financial life that is like crafted around avoiding them. Because on one hand, you have all these emotions that feel heavy inside of you. You don't know what to do with them. On another hand, you want to avoid these emotions because you don't know what to do with them. And every time you're living in that avoidance, whether you're an overspender or an underspender, you're building a financial life that is grounded on that abandonment, that avoidance. And that's only because you don't know how to manage your emotions. And that is an art. It's a skill. And that's one of the pillars that I teach in my community. And that is one thing I'm going to break down in the masterclass that I'm having: how to spend your money guilt-free. The link to join is in the comments. And I want to see you there live, because then we can have an interactive conversation about what's happening in your life. And for you to walk away from that 1 hour having the exact steps you need to understand how to manage your emotions. Literally, from that class, you're walking away ready to see money differently, to interact with your money differently. Because here's the truth, my friend. This is why you feel out of control. It's not because the money is the problem. It's not because you are out of control. It's because you've never been taught how to interact with your inner world. We're bombarded by noise. And so we think we need to turn our attention to the noise outside of us. But the truth is, you need to turn inward, solve for that. And that allows you to tune out the noise from outside. So in my masterclass, How to Spend Your Money Guilt-Free, I am walking you through the skills that are vital for any woman who's ready to be a financially confident woman to start implementing, so that you can build that self-awareness, so that you can understand your money way past the level of awareness, now understanding that in your life and knowing exactly how to take steps to improve and better your relationship with money. So, as I said in the beginning, this is installment 2. The next live that we're going to have next week, it's going to be about taking your power back, building that 100% responsibility and ownership, not from theory. As you noticed today, we didn't do theory. We did real cases, real life situations that you can take and implement in your own life. And so we're going to break it down for you exactly what 100% responsibility means. And that is what changes the game. So I want to see you there. In the meantime, make sure you register for the masterclass, How to Spend Your Money Guilt-Free, because that is the very next step you need to take to up-level your relationship with money. That is the path for you to be successful, and so that you set yourself apart from the masses that are still complaining about money, because money is never the problem. It's just your emotional world that we need to master. And that, my friend, is totally achievable. All right, I'll see you in the next live. Take care.